Heidi, hi! I told you I would come up with something, and it's taken me all week. It was either that or it was Rat Fans by Roland Rat.
Rat Fans.
But I didn't want to do that.
Well, you didn't even do Ruth Maddox's accent. Come on, let's try again.
Okay. Heidi, hi!
Ruth Maddox!
I really admire Ruth Maddox for her Heidi highs and for the fact that she was dyslexic as well and managed to learn her script for every episode, like word for word, because she knew that she couldn't just sort of have it in hand and read it off it. She knew it off by heart from the start.
Oh, wow. And she was in Woof.
She wasn't.
But do you know what? We should probably say hello and introduce what we're doing.
Oh, welcome to the latest episode of the SADDO podcast. I'm Alison Barton-Simmons.
Okie dokie, picking a pokey. I'm Eggs Benedict.
Oh, that's just pissed all over my Heidi High.
That's it? Oh, sorry. No, go on. What were you saying about Ruth Maddox? Yeah, no, she was in Woof. I posted a clip this week of her in Woof with Mr. Woof.
With Mr. Walt from the last episode? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, playing tennis against Lisa Goddard.
That just sounds like some kind of weird fever dream.
I thought you were going to say euphemism. No, she really was playing tennis. Yeah. He was the umpire, I think, Mr. Woof.
Oh, good old Ruth Maddox and Mr. Woof and Lisa Goddard.
Oh, I think we could easily talk all over again about last week's episode because we all enjoyed it so much, didn't we?
Yes, absolutely. 'Cause, yeah, it was up there with one of the best. But this week, let's bring it back to this week. We are on episode 5 of Fawlty Towers, Gourmet Night.
Gourmet Night.
So this episode was broadcast in October 1975.
And you can watch it on Dailymotion or BritBox or iPlayer or any piracy service of your choice.
Yes, or on DVD if you have them.
We even embed the episode on our website, the Dailymotion link on our website, so just visit saddo.club if you want to find it and watch it before you listen along to this episode. That's
how it works. You can join us by watching the episodes and then listening to us. We're kind of a listen-along podcast, so but you don't have to have watched it. You can pretty much get the gist. We do a deep enough dive for you to be part of what's going on without having sat down and watched it prior to listening.
Yes, but I do think the jokes work a lot better firsthand than us reciting them and telling you what happened. This is just your accompaniment.
So 1975?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, October 1975. I have hastily cobbled together a quiz of events from 1975 for you to try and have a go at, Ben.
Okay. Are you going to present this in the style of one Les or another?
I don't. Which Les category would it fit into? It's just general knowledge 1975 questions.
Probably no Les fits that. Go for Terry Wogan if you like. You do Terry?
I can't do the Irish accent.
Neither can he. He sounded like nobody from Ireland ever.
No, I haven't got that kind of like lilting sort of loveliness to my voice, I'm afraid. It's a bit...
Fair enough. You can just do it as you are. We won't hold it.
I'll just do it as me. Is that all right? I'll just put my own trousers on this week. So let's see how you go. I'm sure you'll be fine with these, Ben. But let's give it a go. Okay. So this episode came out in October the 17th, 1975.
Mm-hmm.
But which TV show in the USA started the same week as this episode on the 11th of October, 1975? Was it?
Okay.
Was it Cagney and Lacey?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Saturday Night Live? Was it The Young and the Restless? Or was it All My Children?
Never even heard of The Young and the Restless.
I think it's a
TV show.
It's a TV show. It's a what are they called? Like a soap opera. It's like one of the infamous American soap operas.
Okay, I think I'm going to say Saturday Night Live because I think that is around about the age of that show. I'll go for that.
What an amazing guess! Well done. Yes, it was same week as this episode of Fawlty Towers. Well done.
Good start.
Number 2. That is a good start. I'm going to chalk you up 1.
On the Les board.
1 on the Les board. Which Queen classic was released in the same month as this episode, in October 1975? Was it Killer Queen?
Mm-hmm.
Was it Bohemian Rhapsody? Was it Radio Gaga? Or was it I Want to Break Free?
Definitely wasn't the latter two, because they were 1984. So that gives me a 50-50 shot. Killer Queen and Bohemian Rhapsody were both early songs, and I think I'm going to go... It could easily be Killer Queen, but I think I'm going to go Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, well done. That's two. Two less points
Wow.
to you. Excellent. It's all coming together. Okie dokie. Number 3. Which IT company was started in 1975? Was it Apple? Was it Hewlett-Packard? Was it IBM? Or was it Microsoft?
IBM.
Oh! It's good, but it's not good enough. It was Microsoft.
No, I didn't know they were that old. I thought they were early 80s.
Microsoft by a 19-year-old
Wow. Okay.
19. God. I think he
No, 19.
19. I think he burnt down his parents' garage in the process. That might be a bit of a myth, but
There's a lot of myths about Bill Gates going around.
there isn't there? There is. Yeah, it's very relevant. It's very relevant to today. Okay, number 4. Which American city police force went on strike in 1975? Which is the point being that police officers they can't officially go on strike, can they? They can't just decide to sort of like down tools and disappear off to do something else. But in 1975, this police force decided to down tools and go on strike. Was it the New York Police Department? Was it Miami? Was it Denver? Or was it San Francisco?
I'm going to go with either New York or San Francisco. I don't know, but
Okay.
I would have thought that if it's major news, it's not likely to have been Miami or Denver, weirdly.
Right.
So I'll go for New York, just because it's probably the most high-profile police department.
Oh, again, you were close. It was San Francisco.
Oh.
It was over a pay dispute, and it was only for 4 days, but it was still big news because it just wasn't something that happened all the time. Number 5. Which popular Volkswagen model is still produced and was introduced in 1975?
Okay.
Was it, and I apologise for any of my mispronunciation of these cars, Sirocco,
Right.
the Touareg, the Chiron,
Yeah.
or the Golf?
It's got to be the Golf, hasn't it? Because the others are just throwaway. They're not iconic ones that have lasted all through the years.
Well done. It was indeed the Golf. Was it a Golf? Oh, you're on three less points right now.
3 less points, fantastic.
Was it a Golf that Margot had? That green snotty Golf?
Oh, it might have been a
or was it a
Golf.
Polo? It was a VW though, weren't it?
I'm not sure now. My wife had a green VW Polo, so I don't know if I'm just getting art and
mixed up.
reality intertwined in my mind.
It's easily done. It's easily done. Okay, next question. Which home video playback device was released in 1975? Was it the Betamax, the VHS, the home film projector, or none of the above?
The VCR surely was much later, and I thought the Betamax came out at much the same time. So I'm going to go with that third one. What was it?
The home video projector.
I'll go for that one.
It was the Betamax.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, I believe that the Betamax supposedly was better technology than the VCR. It's not necessarily the best technology that wins out, is it?
Yes.
It comes down to a lot of other factors.
Yes.
So that had been around before the VCR even came into play, did it?
I think, was the VCR better marketed as well? Was it to do with the marketing sort of behind it?
Probably. It's all about who you know, innit?
I think so. I'm sure someone will tell us if we're wrong anyway.
Oh, so that's pissed on the chips. I'm only on 3 out of 6 now. Was that the last one?
Yeah, no, I've got one more.
Okay.
Is right, but I, if you get this wrong, there's something up. A Spanish dictator died in 1975 and saw monarchy returned to the country. Was the Spanish dictator General Ferdinand Alonso, General Francisco Franco, General Marco Torres, or General Raul Mata?
Doesn't he play for Man U?
I think he does, yes.
I will say Franco.
It was Franco. Well done. That's another.
And where was he when he died?
In Madrid.
In Madrid.
4 points out of a possible 7 there. So well done.
Yeah, on a year that I didn't even live in.
Exactly. Well done.
Pretty good going. Yeah. Well, thank you for that 1975 quiz. I hope we've got a 1979 one coming up when we get onto those episodes.
Yes, we'll have to move it forward, and yeah, I'm sure there'll be. I will put one together. But that was helped by Googling it online, so it wasn't stuff that I'd made up. These questions are out there.
Well, no, because if you made it up, then you wouldn't know if the answers were correct or not.
Exactly. I've done that before. I've set off with a quiz and not known the answers.
Okay, shall we get stuck into this episode then? Which,
let's do it.
As we said earlier, is Season 1, Episode 5, Gourmet Night.
So, as always, we are opened up to the outside of the Fawlty Towers Hotel with the sign, which has been hastily rearranged to spell out warty towels.
Yep, I like that one.
Made me feel a bit sick, that. I wonder if they are warty towels inside the hotel.
I bet they're horrible.
Oh.
Whatever towels they've got, I bet they're really stiff and, well used.
Threadbare, like all round the edges. I bet they are. Ugh. So we find Fawlty with his car bonnet up. He's Austin 1100.
Yes.
And he's got his car bonnet up. It won't start. The alarm's going off. And he's giving it a right telling off. He's proper shouting at his car, isn't he?
He is. Well, he's personified it, hasn't he? Which I think we all do. And it's not a 70s or a Basil thing. We all shout at inanimate objects from time to time. I go through my day calling all sorts of things bastards. Yeah. So he's just giving it a telling off, and he's on his own. And I think we all do that.
He's telling it to make an effort. So he's getting a bit upset. Back at the hotel, the telephone is ringing off, and Manuel.
Yeah, he's running out trying to get Basil to come in, isn't he, to deal with the phone call?
Yeah, he's obviously trying to pass it over to Sybil. But as Fawlty gets there, again, as he's busy stopping what he's doing to go and sort out the problem, Sybil gets there at the same time. And so that, again, I was irritated. Why didn't she just go and sort it out straight away? Oh. And Manuel gets a smack.
Yeah.
For the issue.
Poor Manuel, it's not his fault, is it? He couldn't find her.
Sybil is urging Fawlty to go and get the car sorted by someone who knows what they're doing, rather than trying to fix it himself.
Yeah. Which
seems to be a faulty way of dealing with things. I can sort it, I can do it, when he obviously can't. Sybil's on the phone now with Andre, who is a restaurateur, and he's recommended a new chef for Fawlty Towers, who is Kurt, isn't it? The new chef is called Kurt.
Yes, yeah.
So there's great excitement that they're getting a new chef. Polly, also creating great excitement, has sold one of her paintings. She sold one of her sketches. So she's celebrating and wants everybody to join in and celebrate along with her with this bottle. I thought it might have been champagne, but as they poured it out, I realised it wasn't champagne because it looked like a really bad water infection, whatever she poured out. So I think it might have been the wine from last week, the discarded wine from last week.
It must have been, yeah.
The corked wine. So they're all in the kitchen and they're all enjoying themselves. There's Basil, Sybil, Manuel, Polly, and the new chef in the shape of Kurt.
Kurt, who I think has bought Polly's drawing, hasn't he? He's the one who bought it.
And it's a picture of Manuel.
Yeah.
That Kurt's bought, which does sort of set us up for events later on.
Well, they telegraph it a bit, I think, at this point. It's clear he's got kind of homoerotic overtures towards Manuel because he is constantly talking about Manuel. He's spoon-feeding the poor bastard.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is a bit much, isn't it? I mean, you would be a bit suspicious if I was Manuel.
Him and he's quite besotted. Fawlty's trying to eat something off a plate that Kurt's made, and Sybil's taking the plate off him and telling him to go and get the car sorted. So Fawlty can't even have a minute just to have a little bit of a snack and a drink to celebrate the sale of the picture. And he's already been ushered back outside. We're in the dining room next with Fawlty and Sybil, and they're eating with Andre, who has recommended Kurt to them as the new chef.
Yeah.
And they're planning this big night of food and drink and merriment, the gourmet night. That is the next big thing that's going to take place at the hotel, and Fawlty's loving this because it means that he can get the clientele that he's hoping for to sort of come along to the hotel and enjoy such an evening. He goes in to check on the guests that are in the dining room at this point, and there's there's a kid with his mum and dad in there, spoiled little bugger called Ronald, with his pest of a mum, who were in there. This kid just wants chips, and Fawlty is sort of like trying to placate this child with this mum who obviously idolises this spoilt little brat. Did you spot who Ronald's dad was?
No, I didn't.
I've got another woofism here. He wasn't in Woof, but
there's another that type of thing. Was he in Supergram or something?
Oh, not far off. You're not far off. Have another guess.
Yeah,
if it wasn't Supergram, what else could it have been?
Johnny Morris.
No.
No.
Johnny
idea.
Briggs. Do you mean Johnny Briggs?
Johnny Briggs. That's what I mean. Yeah, sorry.
Johnny Morris.
Who's Johnny Morris?
Is he not? Was he not the guy that loved animals, talked to animals?
Oh, he might have been. Yeah. Oh no, who am I thinking of now? From the Really Wild Show with the skullet. Terry Nutkins.
Chris Packham. Oh right, yeah. He had his finger bitten off by an otter.
Did he?
Yeah. Nutkins, yeah.
We've gone... It's amazing how
That's
quickly we've just gone way off tangent
yeah.
now. No, I don't know who played the father. Who was it?
It was called Jeffrey C... I want to say Seagull. It's not Seagull. Jeffrey Seagal.
Yeah.
Not any relation to Stephen. But he played Arthur Perkins, who was the neighbour in Rent-A-Ghost.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I recognised him straight away.
I did notice that the mother, played by Elizabeth Benson, was also in another episode of Fawlty Towers. Oh,
right, okay. As a different person?
Yeah, he's done that a few times, hasn't he? Between Series 1 and Series 2, he reuses actors. Because the gin and orange guy, he comes back later as well.
See, I think I'd recognise him because it was such a sort of poignant line. I know it's only one line, but for her, she could sort of blend into the background, perhaps. And I wouldn't recognise her coming up. Anyway, we'll see if we can spot her when she turns up.
But the kid himself...
yes?
What's his name? Richard? No.
Ronald. Yes.
He himself... Obviously, he doesn't like the chips because they're the wrong shape.
Yes.
And then he proceeds to be obnoxious to Basil, calls him stupid and describes Fawlty Towers as a dump. And then the mother says he's very highly strung, and Basil says, yes, he should be. But that actor, whose name escapes me now because I didn't write it down, he went on to be a chef himself, apparently.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, so he knew his chips then? He
obviously knew his chips, so maybe he wasn't being precious so much as having standards.
Yes, good old Ronald. Little bugger. He wants salad cream on his food, which is such a kid thing to happen, isn't it? Kids always want stuff like that, but obviously Fawlty wasn't getting involved because Fawlty doesn't like children at all.
Doesn't like people. Doesn't like humans.
People. No, especially little ones. And he elbows the kid in the head.
And that, again, was because the kid kept flinching when he was supposed to just slap him.
Yes.
But he kept flinching, wasn't he? So
is that right?
Got around that by elbowing him when he was least expecting it, because otherwise the kid kept flinching away.
Oh, poor Ronald.
But weirdly, as he goes off, having elbowed the kid, the dad says, nice man.
Weird, yeah. Mr. Perkins. Probably watching it for Miss Popoff.
Yeah. Timothy Claypole.
Good evening. Everything to your satisfaction?
Oh, well, I don't like the chips.
Sorry?
The chips are awful.
Oh dear, what's wrong with them then?
They're the wrong shape and they're just awful.
I'm afraid he gets everything cooked the way he likes it at home.
Does he?
Yes, I do, and it's better than this kid's garbage.
Now, Ronald.
These eggs look like you laid them.
Ronald!
Look here, old chap.
Shut up! Leave him alone! He's very clever, rather highly strung.
Yes, he should be.
Chips.
Well, these are proper French fried potatoes. You see, the chef is continental.
Couldn't you get an English one?
Why don't you eat just one or two, dear?
They're the wrong shape.
Oh, dear. What shape do you usually have? Mickey Mouse shape? Smarty shape? Amphibious landing craft shape? Poke in the eye shape?
When Andre's leaving the sort of planning evening for the gourmet night, he gives Kurt a funny look. It's like a forewarning for what's to come next. Like, as if to say, like, you know, behave.
Yeah.
Behave.
And he
Kurt.
says, don't you trust me? And there's clearly something awry about this guy, isn't there? And
Yes.
it's clearly that he's kissing Manuel at the same time, so it's clearly all tied in.
Yeah.
Not fully on the lips or the bell end or anything. He's just
No.
he's just sort of kissing him on the head, isn't he? And Manuel just thinks it's playful. He's not filleting him.
Goodness.
Yeah, and he's clearly got a thing for Manuel. I saw this coming. I mean, I know I always say I've seen it a million times before, but I think it's fairly well telegraphed.
Yes. Yeah. It's pointed out to you, isn't it? It's pointed out for you to sort of watch out for this.
Yeah.
Gourmet night comes around, and there's already an issue because there's a family of four that have cancelled already before the night even begins. To which Faulty says, "Well, I hope it's nothing trivial," because he's obviously really put out that someone wouldn't want to come to his gourmet night. There is a lineup though of guests that are turning up. There's the JPs,
Yes.
which are Colonel and Mrs. Hall.
Yep.
We've got the Twitchens, Lionel and Lottie.
Which seems weird to me because I would have thought the other two should have been called the Twitchens. Yes,
yeah, but the Halls and the Twitchens. So we've got two couples that are definitely going to be there. The Twitchens, I think, Mr. Twitchen Lionel is Torquay's leading Rotarian.
Yes.
So I bet Basil I bet he was thrilled to bits with that. The ladies, Miss Tibbs and Miss Gatsby, attempt to come downstairs to get some dinner and get ushered back up to get out the way.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't need them to, sort of, twittering around.
Can't blame him for that. They are annoying.
No, that would be, it'd be too much, wouldn't it? It would be too much.
We see at this point as well that Manuel is unhappy about something, but Basil's not got time to deal with him.
He's very upset.
Again, just setting the scene that something's happened to discombobulate Manuel, but Faulty's just far too tied up in what's going on with his gourmet night to entertain any nonsense from him.
He does get, he gets very hyper focused, does Faulty. When something happens that he's got to give his attention to, nothing else matters. And we found this before when the episode where Polly was trying to get his attention about the guy that was trying to steal the coins.
Yeah, he wouldn't listen to her.
He wouldn't listen because he's busy focusing on what's going on. The Halls arrive in the bar and they begin some sort of very boring chitter-chatter about the weather. Colonel Hall has a bit of a twitch.
A bit of a twitch.
Which is very weird. It's a really odd scene. At first I thought, God, is he in on the Manuel thing? Does he know what's going on? And he's like busy trying to sort of indicate to Faulty that there's something happening. But it wasn't. It was just a random twitch.
Yeah, but it's so OTT, clearly deliberately. It made me laugh because Sybil physically recoiled from it.
Yeah,
the first time he did it.
Yeah. They've apparently met previously at a dinner dance, Faulty and Colonel Hall, but Colonel Hall doesn't remember any of this, which really puts Faulty out because he thinks that he's obviously a memorable person. He then asks, how's your daughter? Trying to sort of like jog his memory.
Yeah.
To which Sybil tells him that the daughter's dead. Which is just, oh my God. Horrendous. What a horrendous conversation to be part of.
Maybe this was in there just to show him getting more and more panicky, because he gets so panicky he forgets his own name, doesn't he?
Yeah.
As you would if you drop something like that, you would be like, oh, Jesus.
And then so Sybil ends up introducing Basil to the Halls just to get it moving onwards.
This lady who plays Colonel Hall's wife.
Yes.
She's got a massive head on a tiny body, isn't she?
Yes.
She's like a bobblehead.
A tiny face in the middle of a head.
But it's huge. The head's the size of a torso. It's really, really, really weird. And she's tiny, so Basil didn't spot her behind Colonel Hall. And then when he's trying to get them a drink, Colonel Hall says, too small and dry. And Basil says, I wouldn't say that. How to ingratiate yourself, eh?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He does the opposite of what he's trying to do. The Twitchens then arrive, and they're in the reception. Polly's now trying to get Basil's attention about Kurt, but we're not really sure. I don't think we're really sure at this stage what's sort of going on. But there's obviously something happening in the kitchen, off the camera.
But she's trying to explain it in such weird metaphors.
Yeah. She is. What she keeps saying to him doesn't actually tell him what's happened. I don't think you would have a clue, would you, what was going on with what
Well, clearly Basil didn't.
No. Fawlty introduces the Twitchens to the Halls, and Basil can't remember names, and I feel really embarrassed for him. He really is so off the wall at this point that he's struggling to even interact with guests, and ends up laughing maniacally because he can't remember what the names are, and then faints in order to get out of the situation. Yeah,
he's as usual making everything 10 times worse.
Yes.
Just through his mania, yeah.
Yes, yeah. It just overtakes him. Polly then just gets to the point and tells Fawlty that Kurt's drunk.
Yeah.
Kurt's had a row with Manuel because he's got a crush on him, which is not reciprocated by Manuel, and so he's got himself drunk. He's slouched down in the kitchen with a bottle, crying, and Polly is trying her best now to get this sorted. So Basil flings Kurt against the wall and tries to get him to wake up and out of his drunken stupor. Polly says that the best thing to do now would be to ring Andre, to which, again, one of the infamous lines used by Fawlty. He's working tonight, you cloth-eared bint.
Yeah, she gets it again. Yeah, I must admit, I think I messaged you the other day saying I accidentally called Ali a cloth-eared bint the other day. Just because it's now wedged in my lexicon again, having been watching all these...
part of your daily lexicon now. Brilliant.
I think it is, yeah. You say brilliant, she didn't.
No, I bet she didn't.
I don't quite understand Basil's logic by trying to sort out Kurt by throwing him against a door and then trying to resuscitate him by throttling him. It's not quite...
No, he's not really with the programme, is he there?
He's not at all, no. And then he just won't tell Sybil what's going on either. He's just...
Yeah.
In such... he literally can't verbalise the situation.
Yeah, because it literally is like his worst case scenario, isn't it? The worst thing you could imagine has happened. So he needs to change the menu now because Andre can cobble him something together to send over, and Basil needs to change the menu. So the guests are already perusing the menu in the other room, but Basil has had to change it to only duck dishes, unfortunately. There's duck with orange, there's duck with cherries, and there's a duck surprise, which is duck without orange and cherries. So if you don't like duck, you're rather stuck. Polly and Manuel begin to serve the starters, which they already had. And the Colonel wants the wine list, so he's just trying to sort of make the most of it.
Yeah, because Basil says, certainly, Major. Colonel,
yeah! Mrs. Hall screams at this point that she's going to be sick. And she said, "It's not cooked, you ignoramus." And I think it's the mullet that's not cooked, and there's a hair in the mousse.
Yeah.
To which Polly says, "Don't tell everyone because they'll all want one." Ha ha ha.
And then Colonel Hall goes, "What?" In this so over the top way.
Basil's now got to head out to Andre's restaurant. We had a great outside on location shot of the shop front of Andre's.
Oh, I bet that got you popping.
I loved it. And the internal shot of the inside of Andre's restaurant at the back. So Andre has kindly cobbled together some dishes that Fawlty can take back and sort of say that they've been made at the hotel. So he sends Fawlty back with a tray with the big lid on it and sauces in the back of the car. As he's going into the kitchen, he drops the platter. And he bends down, and there's like sort of a really comic scene of doors opening and banging heads and sauce being spewed everywhere, and it's a bit of a mess, isn't it, in the kitchen?
Manuel stumbles in and ends up getting his foot stuck in the duck on the floor.
Yes.
That was quite funny.
Yes. So that's had to be a write-off. That meal is a complete write-off. Sybil calls Andre again to ask him to do the same meal, and then, it just ends up maniacal. A maniacal scene of Polly and Manuel having to placate the guests by singing and playing music while Faulty disappears off again to pick up more food.
It's like an impromptu cabaret aimed at smoothing them over.
Yeah.
But it's so bad. Well, A, it's so bad, and B, it's so loud. Manuel's clearly being really loud and really in close proximity to them. They're really not appreciating it.
No.
Before Basil disappears, he gets that duck on the floor and literally pitches it into sleeping Kurt's guts as well. He just lobs it right at him.
Throws it at him.
So it's really heavy on the slapstick, isn't it, this one, I think?
It is. And then back at Andre's, there is a major misunderstanding. Again, before Faulty has a chance to pick up the platter with the food that he needs, another waiter comes in and takes the dish, leaving the platter that Faulty ends up bringing back to the hotel, which is actually a blancmange. It's like a big blancmange pudding.
Oh, is that what it was?
That he brings back by accident.
You don't see blancmanges anymore, do you? That's a bit of a 70s, 80s
No,
thing.
I think it's like a trifle-y. It looks like something that's been made from a mould and then placed onto the platter.
Yeah.
It looks quite nice, but it's not what the guests are expecting. They're expecting duck at this stage. But we have the infamous scene where Faulty gets into the car to come back and the car will not start.
Yeah.
Which is obviously foreshadowed from the opening scene. So he gives it a damn good thrashing with a tree branch in the middle of the road in order to make it. Obviously, he throws everything at it as Faulty does when things go wrong. Just sort of beat it to try and make it come right again.
Yeah. This is a scene from Fawlty Towers lore, which has been so overanalyzed. Well, not overanalyzed. It's been... I can't say that and then analyse it some more, can I? It's been one that's... It's sort of part of the zeitgeist, isn't it? It's part of the cultural fabric of comedies in Britain. So there's loads of clips of the cast and crew talking about the making of this, and I think there's bits of where Cleese is saying that they tried it several times with different sized branches before they worked out which branch was the funniest.
Is that right?
He couldn't qualify what made it the funniest. He just knew it was. He kept rushing off and picking up. I think John Howard Davies had them finding different sized branches, and he'd come back and do his shtick, you bastard, and he'd be thrashing the car, but just one particular branch, the one that made it into the final cut, just happened to be...
was the funniest.
The right one for the right comedic output, yeah. The other thing with this scene is that John Cleese couldn't actually drive, so it was a stunt Cleese in the car.
Was it that did the driving?
Yeah. I mean, he was 35, but he couldn't drive. I think he didn't pass his test until the following year or something.
Right.
I think it's an overrated scene. I'll just put myself out there and say it. It's funny, but it's not. There's so many other funnier scenes in Fawlty Towers for me. Yeah,
I think that their knack of picking out the funniest word in a line, for me, that's funnier, because those words tend to land so well because they've been crafted and recrafted and worked on and thought about. Whereas, it wouldn't bother me if it was a different branch. I don't know. Yeah, it's a funny scene, but like you say, it's infamous.
Comedic sensibilities were different, and I think it's to do with he did that physical comedy better than anyone.
Yeah,
and there weren't people doing it the way he did it, so it was fresh.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Nowadays, that type of thing wouldn't be fresh. So you got to view it through the 1970s lenses, I suppose.
Absolutely. And again, I think we've said this before, that's quite a Python, the physical slapstick of a big man hitting a car with a branch at the time. That was quite, not surreal, but out of it's like so out of the ordinary when it came to comedy that was on TV at the time, I think. Yeah,
and the fact that he's castigating it while he's doing it. He's not just hitting it.
Shouting at it like it's a naughty boy.
Yeah, I'm going to give you a damn good thrashing is a great line to be shouting at the car.
Damn you vicious bastard! Come on! Oh my God!
In fact, this next bit made me laugh more. The fact that he then runs home. He runs home with the platter.
Yeah.
He just sets off running, and I think that's just because he's got extraordinary long legs and looks like a baby gazelle when he runs. I think he's just got a comedic look to him, being the sort of dimensions that he is.
But while he's doing that, Sybil's now stalling everything with her awful stories, which, if anything,
she is.
must be even more difficult to bear than Manuel's cabaret.
Do you think she's quite happy, though, at this stage? Because she's sat laughing and joking and smoking.
She is, but the guests aren't.
No, they're miserable, but she's probably quite comfortable in that role. Faulty comes wandering in with this platter on a trolley for the big reveal, because he's thinking, amazing. Like, I've got it all sorted. No one's suspected anything. It's all under control, which obviously it isn't. He's ready to carve the duck. He does that thing where you sharpen your knife, and he lifts the lid, and it's a trifle. It's a pudding on a tray, and he digs through it to try and find the duck.
Yeah, that is the funny part of that. Not that it's a trifle, because you expect it's going to be something different. It's
something
random. He doesn't
random,
believe that it could. It must be a duck. It must be in there somewhere.
Yeah. What about the duck? The duck's off. Sorry. And then the episode finishes.
What did you think of this one?
I think I was waiting for it, knowing that the car thrashing scene was in it. Like you said, that is, when you see sort of clips of Fawlty Towers, that's often the one that they use, that sort of TV producers use to sort of highlight the comedic element of Fawlty Towers. It felt very quick. I don't know about you, but it felt like things happened quite quickly, and it felt shorter. I don't know whether it's because things were more concise, the sort of like elements of it were more concise and dealt with and then moved on. But it did feel like it was less drawn out than other episodes.
I think it's simpler, yeah. I think it's poorer for it, actually. There's less wordplay, there's less busyness, less cerebral, really. It's just a straightforward farce, really, is what we've got here. The showing of Basil thrashing his car as being representative of Fawlty Towers is as much misleading as the clip of Margot falling over in a sou'wester in a goods garden. It just seems to be a bit of slapstick which people have clung to, but doesn't actually represent the strengths of the show to me.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean by that? Is that fair?
I do. Yeah, I think so. It's almost just picking out something that's been for the greatest laughs, almost. Which I don't know if in the 70s, if that was shown and Margot's pratfall was sort of shown, would they have landed different in the 70s? Would the audiences have, like, if it was like a couple of years after, would those clips have landed better in the 70s than they would do now?
You think about like classic things from Fools and Horses in the 80s and 90s. It's Del Boy falling over in the bar.
It's the pratfalls, isn't it? Yeah.
The British public love a good physical gag.
Yeah.
I think now, maybe, but all the way through the 20th century, things like that landed. Maybe less so now.
I think John Cleese, just going back to last week and the line about the tennis table, the ping pong table.
Yeah.
It's not great, but it could be used in an emergency. To me, that is such a funny line. And that stuff, I find that funny on a modern level as well. I think that, so I do think he was, while being very demonstrative and very physically funny to look at, and his actions always sort of landed well in Fawlty Towers. I think his ability to the wordplay, the attention to detail with what was the funniest way to say something still lands well now.
That's why it's timeless. It's timeless. As good as Cleese is with his physicality, there are lots of shows that deal in physical comedy. Yeah. But the thing that gives it its longevity and timelessness is the craft that goes into the script for me. Yeah.
Although I think in this episode, I think some of it just didn't land. Like the twitch didn't land well. It just seemed over exaggerated. And Polly trying to explain what was happening with Kurt didn't land.
Yeah.
For me.
I suppose we've got a little bit hashtag different times as well with Kurt being essentially a sex pest because he can't handle unrequited love.
Yeah, just goes to pot.
Yeah, he goes to pot, and then I think Basil says, "He's Greek. That's worse. They invented it." At some point, as he's being bustled into the kitchen. So yeah, a little bit hashtag different times that. I think the other thing from this episode I was going to say is that we're seeing Fawlty getting more and more outrageous in his desperate lies when he's backed himself into a corner.
Yeah.
You know, when he's with these guests and he can't remember the names and he starts just making up ridiculous things.
He can't even stop himself to just be sensible and ask, I'm sorry, I know you've told me your name, I'm really sorry, just tell me your name again, which would diffuse. I know, obviously, we've said before that that's not good for a TV comedy show, but it, as a person, as a sort of a being, if he'd just asked, it would have diffused the problem. But he doesn't do that.
As well as serving the comedy, the character is shown to have no self-awareness, but just has an inability to be seen as wrong. He can't say.
Yeah.
He can't be seen to be weak in any way. Like he can't not fix his own car. He can't not sort out O'Reilly to come and do the building. Everything. Yeah. He'll never admit to being wrong, and he'll lie to a ridiculous degree.
Yeah.
You know? He reminds me of one of those like Billy bullshit kids, you know, at school where you get they tell a lie like my uncle's. I'm trying to think of an example. My uncle's Nigel Mansell.
Yeah.
And then they'll compound that lie by saying, "Oh yeah, I can't come this weekend because I'm off to Silverstone to see my uncle race." And this
just
goes
keep pouring
on.
it on. Adding to it until it's just out of control. And he is out of control, isn't it? Do you think he's getting more out of control as the episodes go on? Is it ramping up, do you think?
I think it just ramps up as per the situation. He invested a lot in this. Like he invested a lot in that first episode with the advert to attract a higher clientele. That snobbishness matters a lot to him. So he really wants it to work, and therefore he goes to, his mania is up to 12.
That seems to be getting the correct clientele for the hotel seems to be a real trigger for him. It really does. When things don't go right in that arena, when he can sort of like push himself up to the next sort of echelons of grandeur within the class system, he seems to go to pot when it doesn't quite go as he wants it to.
I think as well as being in with that crowd, he really, really wants to not have to deal with the riffraff.
Yes.
You know, the people at the start, the kid with the chips, he wants to never have to deal with those pricks again, which is a big thing. But just going back to the bullshit thing, it reminded me of a kid at Joey's school a couple of years ago. Like I say, when a kid makes up some shit and it's so unbelievable, but they just build on it and build on it.
Yes, yeah.
And bear in mind this was year 8, so what age are they at year 8? No, year 9.
13, 14?
13, 14. He was coming and he always had tales of his sexual escapades.
Right.
Joey would come home saying, Billy bullshits her again. But he kept having to go bigger and go bigger.
So my God.
And he said he'd had a one-night stand with every female teacher in the school.
That is a stretch, isn't it?
Well, not just... He didn't say I fucked him. He just come in and said I've had a one-night stand. It's
with all of them together, like a collective, or
I don't know.
Individually?
Well... he had to qualify that it was the female ones because he's not gay.
So it's just the ladies, right? Okay.
B, it was a one-night stand. It wasn't just a pump.
Wow.
It was. You can imagine him walking through the corridors on Monday morning, going, "Look, Sandra, it was really special.
It was
let's
one
never talk
time
about
only."
It again." It's a one-night stand. Yeah, obviously the kid just got worse and worse and worse with it, and I almost feel sorry for him because he was he couldn't back down, and that's what Basil was like. Backed
into a corner with his sexual escapade lies.
Yeah,
I bet the teachers as well. It's not even like it's like, oh no, you don't know them. They go to another school. It's literally the teachers that are teaching you maths after lunchtime.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've had it.
Yeah. Oh God.
In a one-night stand.
I love Miss.
Some kids grow up and they never get out of that.
Yeah.
My mate James is famous for his bullshit. See, because the guy in this is, what's he called? Not the Major, the Colonel. The Colonel
Hall.
And then Basil calls him Major.
Yes.
Well, my mate, he made up a bullshit a few years ago that his granddad insisted on all the grandkids calling him the Admiral, and every time he walked into a room, they had to salute him.
What?
And then he just does it for shits and giggles. I mean, he will back down and he'll just say, "No, it was just bullshit.
It was nonsense," right?
Yeah. So the point that guys like that, everything they say to take with a pinch of salt. It's 50-50 whether it might be true or not.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of it.
There's people that believe it. They believe their own sort of nonsense, don't they?
Yeah. Some of them just live in a... Well, Donald Trump springs to mind. Everything he says, he believes. I don't think he even thinks he's lying.
No, he believes his own mistruths, yeah.
Anyway, let's have a look, shall we, at Bric-a-Brac Spotlight. Did you manage to pick anything out?
I did. I've picked 2 really, really random things this week. My first one that I've picked is the outside signage of Andre's restaurant.
Yeah.
Because it just, that for me, if you've read any of the posts that I've written about sort of the 70s and things being of a time, that style of outside signage in a shop, it just gives me sort of like warm feelings of a time gone by. And it's all misremembered. I remember it as a kid and it all being very rosy and lovely, and it potentially wasn't, but it's one of those pointers in, like, sort of points in life when I look back and look at them on TV, it gives me a warm fuzzy glow.
And what was your other one, or was that your only one?
It was Mrs. Hall's face.
her massive face on her tiny body.
The tiny face on the big head. Because you rarely see actors that look like Mrs. Hall anymore. It was, that look, for me, is like of a time gone by. You don't see people that look like that anymore.
No.
Maybe I'm just total sweeping generalisation there. If you know anyone that has a Mrs. Hall face, send me a picture, because I'd like to see that. But I don't know, for me, it just felt of a time, and it's not a face that you see.
I'm sure the actress who played Mrs. Hall is delighted to know that you've picked her face as Bric-a-Brac, representative of the 70s.
Yeah, sorry, Mrs. Hall. But yeah, it just felt of a moment in time.
I've got one which you definitely don't see anymore, and I'm not sure how prevalent it was in the 1970s, but it stood out to me. Basil's Austin, what is it?
The Austin 1100.
Yeah, not the Austin 1100 itself, because obviously you don't see them anymore. But the fact that the rear view mirror, or not the rear view mirror, the wing mirrors, weren't on the side of the door. They were right above the headlights, elevated on stalks.
Yes!
Which is very much a weird thing. Why would they not just put it... I mean, it's like, 2 metres away from where Basil sat behind the wheel.
Yeah.
Looking at a small mirror so that you can see what's... It's a weird placement. I don't understand what they were thinking in the automobile industry at that point.
I'm sure my granddad had a car. Was it a Datsun Sunny, I think, that had the mirrors on the front, not where they normally would be. They were like randomly on the front of the car.
If you needed to adjust them, you'd have to pull it over, wouldn't you?
Get out
and
get
wrench
out and...
the stalk around.
Yeah.
Until you could find the right place.
You could lean out your window, maybe, as you were driving and just poke them with a stick.
If you had arms like Mr. Tickle, possibly.
You could do, yeah.
Go gadget arms.
Or Basil Fawlty with his long arms.
Yeah, maybe he
legs.
could have
Maybe he just leant out and just adjusted them.
You just give it a talking to and it righted itself, probably.
Yeah, you would do, yeah. Just sort it out.
So I think we've got a few fashion items to have a look at this week. Well, I say you, because you're the fashion guru. So let's have a trip over to Fashion Corner.
Well, it's time to take a little trip to the place that long ago was hip. It's Fashion Corner, it's Fashion Corner, it's Fashion Corner, Fashion Corner.
We have got quite a bit to chat about this week in Fashion Corner. First port of call is Sybil, early on in the episode, with an Air Force Blue skirt suit, and she's got like a cream ruffly blouse underneath it. Very sort of the time. She wears quite a lot of these outfits where it's a really smart suit on the outside with a ruffly blouse underneath. I like the colour, the Air Force Blue colour of it was stunning, it was beautiful. My next mention is in the dining room scene. Sybil again, this time she's got like a red bolero jacket, so like a very short jacket with a sparkly black trimming around the outside. And then like the dress was like a reverse. It was like a black dress with red sparkly trimming. She looked very Christmassy, I must admit, in this scene. That seemed to be... She sort of pushed the boat out for this meeting with Andre.
Yes, yeah.
In the other room at the same time as this, we've got the family that are sat having their dinner with the kid, with the annoying kid Ronald. He's just dressed in brown. He's like in the 1970s kind of regulation brown shirt he's got a huge collar with a brown tank top over the top. He looks like, did you ever have, when you were at school, did you have a hymn book called Come and Praise?
Not to my memory.
And if anyone remembers the Come and Praise hymn book from schools, it had pictures of kids on the front with like massive big 1970s haircuts and huge collars. And it was a book, and it never seemed to be updated, even though I was in primary school sort of in the late 80s. They never changed the cover of it, so it was like kids that looked like Ronald on the cover, and it was from the pages of the Come and Praise hymn book.
Did they have 1970s faces that were huge, like this woman as well?
No, they didn't. They didn't have Mrs. Hall faces, no. Big heads with tiny faces. Ronald's mum, despite being a really annoying pest in this scene, she's dressed in like a lilac frock dress with an atomic geometric print in orange and white, which do seem like really random colours to go together, but it really works. And I think the dress that she's wearing I think it's stunning. Lovely. Mrs. Hall, of the big head and tiny face, looks like she's just wandered off the set of a 70s TV show Upstairs Downstairs.
Yeah.
She's got like an Edwardian, really buttoned up, like to like a throat, grey dress blouse with a ruffled collar and like puffy sleeves, and then like a long skirt. And she just, I don't know, there's just something about Mrs. Hall that just doesn't sit right with me. Whether she just looks out of place with her face and her dress. I don't know.
Yeah, she was an odd character. No,
she was an odd character, yeah. Maybe it was supposed to make you feel like that. She just made me feel uneasy. The Twitchens, when they arrived, Mrs. Twitchens in like a powder pink coat. Again, she looked like she could have been in the audience for the royal performance of the final episode of The Good Life. She'd have fitted in well with that clique. Huge back wing sleeves, and it's like a coat that she's got on, and then she's got underneath a dress with a massive blue-grey feather boa. So she'd obviously dressed up for the occasion. She was all ready for being part of the elite at gourmet night. Polly, for the gourmet night, is dressed in black, kind of like in like the uniform of being a waitress, which we often see her sort of dressed up for getting on with the job. But on this occasion, she's dressed in like smart black top and skirt with a brown blouse underneath with a huge collar. She also had a huge collar like Ronald.
Yeah, I thought she looked lovely actually.
And she looked very fit for the occasion. She looked fit for the parts, definitely. I think that's everything for Fashion Corner this week.
Well, Ronald himself was in quite a fetching tank top, did you notice?
Yes, his tank top over the top of his massive collared shirt.
And Manuel had a sort of snazzy pair of braces on when he was in the kitchen early on.
Oh, right,
like
okay. I did miss them, sorry.
Of Gordon Gecko braces.
Rock on Tommy. Who's Terry?
Terry Nutkins.
Terry Nutkins or Terry Thomas. There he is again. So next week we are up to episode 6 of this series. Do you know what it's called, Ben?
Yes, it's the Germans.
Oh, right.
I wonder what that one was about.
Say no more.
Yes, literally, don't mention it. I think I did once, but I think I got away with it. We don't need to say anything more about that. We'll get stuck into that next week, and there'll be a big, long discussion about why it was banned last year or the year before on the BBC, no doubt. Might be a long one, that.
Cripes.
You bastard!
So if you're enjoying what we're doing and you want to join in and or carry on watching along with us, you can follow us at SADDO Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. There we post out rare photos and videos on Fawlty Towers and The Good Life and more. We have a Facebook page that you can find by searching SADDO Podcast, and we also have a growing Facebook group that you can join and contribute to with discussion on memes and rarities that you might find yourself. You can also vote for the subject matter of our forthcoming Series 3, which will be later this year, and you can also suggest ones and get involved by contributing there. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting our website, which is saddo.club, and you can get more information about us, read the blog. You can share us a coffee And you can listen to episodes if you don't do podcast apps. You can also take our Good Life quiz. Give it a whirl.
Big shout out to Rusty Doodles again, who did us our Basil Fawlty and Manuel images for our social media banners. He got in touch to suggest porridge for the next series.
Oh, right, okay.
But if you join our Facebook group, you can put some suggestions forward and we will put it to the poll in about 6 weeks' time, and we'll let the SADDOs decide within reason.
Excellent.
Within reason. Somebody else suggested Gimme, Gimme, Gimme. Did you like that with Kathy Burke?
I like Cassie Burke, and I like... I want to say Richard Dreyfuss, but I know he's not called that.
I know who you mean as well, but I can't think of his name.
I do really like him, but I was never really on... I never really got Gimme, Gimme, Gimme.
No, Dinner Ladies would be preferable to Gimme, 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 I think, from me. What about you?
I love Dinner Ladies.
So I don't know if we're doing 90s. We might consider 90s, but it'd be quite nice to stick to 70s and 80s for season 3, maybe.
I love Dinner Ladies because Victoria Wood is another comedic actor who will hyper-focus on the funniest word, like the funniest branch to hit the car with.
Yeah.
She's another one that she will find the funniest word for a line that changes the whole setup of it.
She was brilliant, yeah.
I find it very admirable.
I'm getting to that age now, I suppose, or we are getting to that age where our favourite comics are dropping dead, and it's really depressing, isn't it?
It is. It is. But what a legacy. What a legacy to leave behind.
On that miserable note.
On that sad, sombre note.
Yeah. We'll see you next week for Series 1, Episode 6, The Germans. Smoke me a kipper, I'll be back for breakfast.
Hold-y-ho!